Hey guys, Christopher here, and welcome to part 15 of How to Pixel Art. Today we will be finally actually animating our Red Rocket Viking. So let's get stuck straight in. Before we do walk cycles, I know that was sort of the main topic that I mentioned at first. We'll do an idle animation because that's a lot simpler to start with. So let's use 4 frames for our idle animation here. So I'm going to have to really manage the screen real estate here. So if you have this bottom tab open here, when you're doing using Pixel Edit, you'll this is all the animation tab. So this is everything that you use. When this is a list of all your animations, this is a current frame that you're on, and then this is the playback of the current animation. So if you click here, you go plus, animation 1. So we will rename this one to idle. And you can see here, you got the name for it, you've got the duration of each frame. 100 milliseconds is fine. I don't play with this too much. I do play with this sometimes in Unity when I'm using like in-game code. Sometimes I like certain frames to take a little bit longer, so I do play with that, but not in here. Base tile is like this blue one. It marks the start of the animation, and then the 4 is the end one, which is the end of the animation. And we just go, okay, so we are going to use 4 for that. So if we hit play now, you just notice that his arms kind of disappear, because you can see that in this frame he has his arms, and then in these frames he doesn't. So let's grab our torso. I think we'll work with that one. Okay, so we're going to have 2 frames of him just up a bit, and then we'll have 2 frames of him down like this. So, doesn't look like much at the moment. We'll add to the feel with it with the arms and whatnot. Okay, so let's get these arms right then, I guess. We'll copy. So just paste this across to all the layers. It's all exactly the same. Okay, so obviously, these layers, we want to move this down, get this all in the right position of where it was, where it should be, sorry. Okay, so now he's bopping up and down. Still doesn't look like that much. So what we want to do is we want to go to this one, and we got the sword layer. So people's arms usually move after they've taken a breath. I mean, this is very exaggerated, obviously, because, you know, it's low resolution pixel art, so you don't want the movements to get lost. But when people breathe, their arms usually continue moving after the breath. So imagine like you breathe up and your arms come up for like a split second longer, and then you breathe down and your arms come for a split second down after you've like exhaled. That's what we're trying to sort of replicate here, but in a really dramatic sort of sense. If you ever get confused about animations, stand up and do exactly what you want your character to do. Pay attention to your micro movements, everything that you do. I do this all the time when I'm confused about like what sort of action I'm trying to capture. So do it, get up and actually do it. I'm not going to get up now because I'm only wearing underpants, and that would be weird. Fun fact for you. So let's keep going. What have we got? Sword. So this layer is, we'll move this one down, and then as he comes down there, and then this one will go a bit further. Okay, so see, it's got like a bit of a nicer bounce to it now. And we're going to do the same with the shield. Bring this one down, and then bring this one down again as well. And so now he's got like a little bit of a bounce to him. Okay. So that's a good start. What else do we want to do here? Now, hair is your best friend when you are animating, because hair you use to create really sort of dramatic, it helps emphasize your movements of what your character's doing. So characters with long hair or tassels, like I commonly add them to things purely because it helps convey exactly what they're doing. It makes it look really dramatic and really nice. So that's what we're going to do in this one a little bit. So let's give his beard like a little bit of a swing. Now this is harder when you want it to be a little less dramatic, I find. So we'll see how well this works, because sometimes this really doesn't work well for me at all, to be honest. And I say that like when it's when you're trying to do subtle movements, just because of the pure like spacing, like from here to here, like is like that's the smallest movement you can do, but it's still quite a big movement, like in comparison to real life, in which if you had a beard this long, it moves tiny amounts. Like if you were standing still, like, or just breathing, well, no, it wouldn't be flowing all over the place, which is kind of what we're doing right now. So we'll see how well this works. So at the moment, it's just kind of clicking back and forth. That's definitely not what we want. So at the moment, it's furthest to the right there, comes right down. So this frame needs to be down as well. Okay, so what do we got there? Yeah, not too bad. All right. It's a little bit wrong still. Yeah, that doesn't look right either. As with these things, most of it's trial and error. Get a better feel as you go along, but still sometimes I'm always struggling to get things right. That's looking pretty good. There's a little bit of a flick to it. So I'm kind of liking that, actually. What else should we do to him? Oh, we've been working on the shield layer with the beard, which makes us terrible people. Well, hopefully you caught on to that earlier than I did. Paste that over the top. And actually, let's go back there. I know I haven't headed that far across. Just fix this up. So we'll go cut, paste, cut, paste, and cut and paste. So hopefully you were smart enough and didn't mess up like I did and actually change layers. Okay, so if we take that away, we shouldn't see any there. Cool, that's looking good. So, it's looking pretty good. Might add just a little bit of movement to these if I can. So what are we at? 8 minutes and 20 seconds. Okay, let's quickly do some little animation here. It's across here. Okay. So when you start kind of changing the pixels within, this is called sub-pixel animation. I honestly don't do it too much. It's very subtle stuff. It works great when your characters are a little bit higher res than this. But it can sometimes be unclear what's going on when you're working at this level. I might actually fill that in. Try to make it a bit clearer what's going on there. It's getting a bit lost still. That looks a bit better, I think. Alright. So I'm kind of cleaning up some problems that exist in the sprite itself while I'm animating here, so. So if you have a problem in the way it looks, it's usually in the flow, like things aren't flowing properly or they're just twitching about. You want to try and avoid that. You want to make sure that, so in the middle here, we got this. We'll have it moving across to the right, this middle one, and then we'll have it still at the right there, and then kind of back to the center here, I guess. And so now you can see how it's got a nice smooth flow to it. Don't know why it's swinging that much. It's a bit sus, really. Let's not talk about that too much. All right, let's fill that in as well. Let's have this one go up here, I think. And come back down here, and then fully out his side again. So now you can see it's like, looks like it's flicking up and coming back down with his movement. Okay, so we'll see if we can do the same on the other side here. Put that there and there. Back down to his side, and then maybe back into here. Swing it across. So that's some pretty dramatic movement in there. So you can see he's really like being quite animated now. Yeah, definitely helps. Actually, and something I haven't done here is add a drop shadow. Terrible, 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 terrible. So let's go here. Okay, that's looking better. And then we'll just bring the opacity down. It's about there. Okay, so there you have it. We've touched on animation now. Definitely after this, in the next lesson, I promise you I'll do walk cycles. This is just how I animate my own characters. I always start with idle, because it's a more subtle animation, so it's an easy starting point, and it helps you to understand exactly what where your character is and how they sort of feel and whatnot. And if your character has any problems with the way that you've sprited them, it'll show like in this stage. So thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.